I felt and saw this presence of something like a ghost.
As I was reaching for my keys, something growled at me coming out of the basement.
It was bad energy. I was sort of feeling like I was letting Satan out of hell.
I saw out of the corner of my eye what I thought was the girl falling off the roof.
I couldn't think. It was so loud and I was so terrified that I just froze.
I'm not calling for that. I'm calling because I'm freaking out here.
I felt this presence trying to push itself down on top of me very violently.
It would not go away. It was freaking me out. I look at my arm and it's got a scratch on it.
Welcome, everybody, to Ghosts of Greystone, Beverly Hills. My name is Clete.
And I'm Chris.
And we are those Keith brothers. And tonight, another great show for you. We have a voices and shadows, temperature changes, and trapped spirits.
Oh,
that's some of the
sounds
stuff.
Like a good one.
Oh, it's a really good one. This is going to be great. And by the way, I'm very excited because now the last show we did the spiral staircase, we did the new kitchen,
right,
and we did something else down there. But now, how's that? Was that good?
Yeah, that was great.
Good promo for that.
Yeah, good
but
promo.
Now we're going upstairs where the meat and potatoes are.
Servant's Wing, second floor.
Servant's Wing, second floor. And this one, now we're getting into it. And then we're going to go around that Servant's Wing, down the hallway, and out into the second floor landing, which forget about it.
Okay.
But this show has so many amazing, bizarre segments in it that I'm really excited about doing this.
Good.
Who do we have up? Who's up
Well,
first?
the first thing I want to ask you is what specifically is up there on the second floor? I mean, what? Yeah.
So if you go up the spiral staircase, which we talked about yesterday, remember the little boy ran and Ranger Mike went after him? That staircase leads up to the second floor servant's wing hallway. So if you look at the mansion, let's say from the top, like almost a third of the mansion to the east is all servant's wing upstairs. So, and again, remember they had more than what we're talking about as far as the rooms up there because they demolished them for the new kitchen.
Right.
So, but there are rooms up there like a butler's room. They said it was the butler's bedroom. And other rooms up there. Remember we talked about the break room. That was the other one. We talked about the break room. That was a room for someone else. There's also a linen room where they had all the linens in
sewing and ironing.
Yeah, so same thing. Yeah, so that's all on this one hallway. And let me tell you, the creep factor is way up in this one. And a lot of the people you're going to hear about talk about that too. Especially Juan talks about it because he doesn't like going up to that stair because you have to go up there to go to the break room is to the left. But I did it forever. I go up there and go and look to the right because I'm going, oh, there's nothing on that side. I could just go to the left and get in the break room quickly. So a lot of activity.
But you never encountered anything.
I never did, no. But a lot of people have, and we're going to talk about it.
All right.
Who's up first?
First one up is Ranger Juanito about his sighting. He had a sighting.
Okay. And I think I do this interview right outside the new kitchen because I think he was in the new kitchen when the sighting happened and when he stepped out. So I think I'm correct in that.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything else?
No, it just says this wasn't the first time.
Remember
for him to see an apparition.
Yeah. Well, think about it. So he was in the murder room. He saw a kid jumping up in the air out at the window, right? So this happens to Juan, and he has the gift. We've talked about that.
Okay.
Let's go into this because I'm excited to hear what he has to say.
Okay.
It's been a long time.
Let's check it out.
Yeah. This is with Juan again. We're talking about the boy outside the kitchen.
I don't know if it was a boy. I couldn't tell the sex. It was white.
So it's a white, like almost like a mist or something, or a cloud, or
no, it was clearly, it had form. Mm-hmm. It had form. It was almost translucent,
Okay.
and it was white. It was white. And when I was coming out of the kitchen, I looked to my left, past the sliding gate. Something was standing. It was about maybe 4 feet.
Okay.
And as soon as I saw it, it turned around and it took off and disappeared.
So when you're seeing it run, though, you're seeing it's a human shape, but you can't tell if it's a boy or a girl.
Just like the one on the second floor by the meat locker that was like barely peeking, also white.
Well, barely peeking, explain that. What does that mean?
So I'm walking up the stairs to the second floor to make a left to go into our ranger office, and I make it a habit of always looking left or right.
Mm-hmm.
So that day, I looked to the right, and at the far end of the servants' quarters where the meat locker is at,
which is right around the corner. The meat locker's right. You can't see the meat locker. It's around the corner of the hallway.
Yes. There was something standing there about the same height, white. Couldn't tell if it was a boy or girl, but I want to say it was a girl.
Oh.
It kind of like, as soon as it saw me, it took off, and I could see its like shape going like it was at the end. Like here's a corner, right? And it was like this. And as soon as I came up, I could see it going like that.
Bend over and kind of start in a running position.
Yes.
And so you're actually seeing it in that hallway, not peeking around the corner. It's standing in that hallway.
Yeah.
And why do you think that one might have been a girl compared to the others? The other one?
I'm not sure.
Was it a feeling or something that you saw?
It was just a feeling that it was a girl.
Okay. Huh. And did it scare you, or was it something that do you think she's playing, or he is playing with you, or?
I didn't. It was white. I didn't feel like it was trying to scare me. It was just maybe looking at me, observing me, or waiting for me. I didn't feel scared. I didn't feel any emotions. I was just surprised that it let me see it.
Is that just the greatest thing?
Yeah.
I just love these because it's, Juan he's just being kind of just blasé about it because it's happened to him before. But the fact that you're coming out of the kitchen and you're seeing something, and I remember him telling me that when it turned, what he said to me was when it turned and it started to run, you could see the elbow go back to run. And if it's a spirit, why does it need to do that?
I have no idea.
If you think about it, well, I don't understand it. But and it runs because maybe it's still kind of earthbound, and that's what you did on Earth. So when you run, you have to do this. But they don't realize. I'm guessing that you could probably just think to be somewhere else, and you're there.
Yeah, I don't know how they envision or how they see that. That it's like they see what they want to see or perceive. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. Is that wild though?
Yeah. Didn't Juan he had a lot of work in the Beverly Hills Library as well. He saw a lot of stuff going on in the Beverly Hills Library.
He really did. And that place, we're not going to do anything about that. It's not up at Greystone. But let me tell you, I did an investigation one night because they called me in and said, this is out of control here. Would you come in? I said, okay. And I came in with my meters and all my devices and stuff like that. And there were noises happening, which is pretty trippy.
Well, Juan saw shadow people all the time.
Right.
It's a 2-story, and he was at the bottom level, and he would look up out of the corner of his eye. He would see them go from post to post.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very bizarre.
And that's why they called me in also. They were seeing whatever. There's a spirit or two at the Beverly Hills Library at night.
Maybe they're studying. Maybe they're getting up on their spirituality.
A little smart mouth tonight, aren't you?
I guess.
How dare you?
The next one.
Serious show.
This is very bizarre. This is Carl.
Yeah.
And just before we start, he is huge, massive.
He's a big fella.
And yet he speaks probably the most quiet
he's really
of any
soft.
people, of any person we've interviewed at all. I mean, I have to push it all the way to get him.
Yeah, Carl, I hope you're out there. I hope you're listening to this at some point. And he's every time I think of you, I think of the FedEx guy. We won't go into that, but
whatever that means.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
yeah.
This is the same kind of thing. What happened to Carl, and I'll let him tell you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you will.
Like Frank.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? Frank and Lisa Turner, Frank in the card room.
Yep. Don't tip it.
I'm not. Right. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
This is a good one.
Ready?
Yes.
All right. Number 2.
Okay.
You did tell us a little bit about the ghosts and stuff in there, so I don't know if that was a subliminal thing. I don't think so, because it was so powerful and so real. But anyways, he was talking about the servants, what I remembered, and I guess some of them had died up there, and we were in that area. And anyways, I felt like this we were kind of by that meat locker, and towards the entry, the hallway thing or whatever it is, and I got this cold chill that hit me here, and then it went through me and out the back. That was it. I mean, it wasn't like it hung out inside me or anything. It just kind of
Now, why was that different than, let's say, just a little gust of wind that was from a window or something? What's the difference feeling than what you felt?
Because when you get a gust of wind, you feel it on your sides, and this was like right in here,
right in the front of your chest,
and not on the sides at all. And I'm a big guy, so a ghost can shoot through me pretty, easily without hitting the whole body. But anyways, yeah, it was just like and that really freaked me out in a way. I wasn't super super scared, but it was a daytime, so I don't know that nighttime has any bearing on anything with ghosts, but they're more powerful at night. They could really do something. I didn't get that at all, but I definitely just felt it heavily, and it was it was pertinent because we were talking about the ghosts and about some of the maids passing away and whatever other people.
So when it went through you, it felt like just like a really cold, like a refrigerator cold. Was it that cold like that?
Well, it was cold, but it's like probably even colder than a refrigerator. Maybe the freezer door opening. That it was probably somewhere in between those two. But it was definitely a cold that I couldn't manifest on my own, even with subliminal thoughts or whatever. So it just seemed like I wasn't really even thinking oh, I'm going to feel a ghost, or I wasn't scared of ghosts or at the time when I was walking through there. But definitely, it coincided with everything I'd heard at the. On the tour, and it just felt so real. It was real. I mean, it was definitely an interesting experience.
Did you relay that to Steve when it happened?
I don't know. I don't think I did. I didn't. Yeah, I didn't want to freak everybody out, because I was with a girl, an old friend of mine, and she was already freaked out about the whole ghost thing in the place. She didn't kind of want to hear about it, so I didn't think it was a good time to bring it up. But yeah, I just felt a ghost. Yeah.
Did it feel like energy at all, or was it just what did it feel like?
It definitely had an energy and a presence to it, it wasn't super negative, but it felt it felt kind of like a get out of here or something. But I didn't hear anything, and I didn't hurt me or anything. But just it was weird. It was, how do you explain something like that doesn't ever happen? It's the first and only time. I've had other kind of spiritual type experiences. I think I'm very in tune with the other side, but anyways, this was different than those other ones that I've had.
Did Steve ever find out? Did you ever tell him?
I don't know. I told him. I can't remember when. I may have even told him then, briefly or something. But I really can't remember. You know, like, hey, Steve, his ghost just shot through me. I just kind of was like, I was so, you know, like, whoa, that I didn't, you know, I was in shock. I just kind of like didn't know what to say. You know.
Did you believe in ghosts prior to that?
I wouldn't say that I was a real ghost believer. I mean, I believed him when he told us, yeah, there's ghosts in here. I mean, I did believe it, but, you know, I gotta admit, I never really like, oh, yeah, there's ghosts, you know, and I hear people's ghost stories, I go, that's BS, you know. But, you know, after that, I do believe in ghosts now. I mean, I don't know if that has any bearing on anything, but definitely I do now. I mean, it was that impactful and just like real and just wow.
I interviewed him over at the print shop. That's why
I was curious.
Yes, it was the print shop in Beverly Hills. On my lunch, so I went over to see him and say, "Hey, can I talk to you just for a minute?" But is that wild? He's a big fella, and for that spirit to go through him like that, it is odd because it's almost like, is that an angry spirit that's doing that? And if so, why? Why Carl? Why Frank?
Yeah.
Why go through them?
Well, he said he didn't feel anything, but he felt it was like, get out of here, but he wasn't sure. You know what I mean? It's and Ranger Steve, he was giving that tour. Was it a ghost tour?
No,
it was just a tour.
He said, "Hey," Carl said to me that this girl was coming to town, I think, and he had said, "Hey, how about we take a tour of the mansion?"
Oh, I see.
And she's like, "Oh, is what? Well, it's, you know, there's ghosts or whatever, but it's not." So she was kind of on edge, and he's the one who ends up getting the.
Yeah, that's funny. Was the tour that he was giving for a group or just them?
Just them.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and what a great person Carl is. We were really good friends. And,
nice guy.
Yeah, really good guy. And that meat locker is something else, I'll tell you. That's like, what a wild.
Are we discussing that one?
What's that?
Meat locker?
Yeah.
Oh, great. The next story is with Luz.
Well, there it is.
Oh, is that the one?
Yes.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that at all.
Yeah.
Was she a ranger at that time, at the time of the story?
You mean when it happened to her, or my asking her? Are you talking about?
Oh, no, she was a ranger at the time.
Yeah,
correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
She was a ranger back in the day. I mean,
yeah.
Like probably
not
in the 90s.
not when you were discussing it with her, but when this happened, she was a ranger.
Yes. Okay. And this happened back in, I think, in the 90s, probably late 90s.
It doesn't say.
Like that. Yeah, I think it was late 90s. And this really kind of corroborates Carl's story, but this took me by surprise. What I did was I took Luz and got her to come to the mansion. She came with her daughter, by the way.
No tipping.
No. Her daughter was there. And I just said, you had some stories? And she goes, oh, yeah. And I said, I tell you what, let's do this, which is the only person I did this with. I said, let's go inside and you lead me. You start in, I'll take you through the areas, and then you just see if that.
Oh, wow.
And she had like 24 stories.
Yeah. How long were you in there?
A couple hours.
Oh, nice.
And again, she had another story, I'm not going to get into it, at the grand entry that was wild. We just can't do them all. We can't do all these stories. They're in the book if you care to look at the book. But
that's why we have a book.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Let's hear. I want to talk about this after when she's done, because this is wild. Okay. This is great.
You got it.
This thing.
Which is the safe. Yeah.
No, it's the one upstairs.
Upstairs, that's the.
You could hear the knob, the latch.
Really?
Yeah.
Now that's upstairs where they do they have, it looks like almost like a shower in there, but it's really for hanging of the meat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it has that handle, and it would shake. Sometimes you could hear it. So if I was down here, the very first time I heard it, I couldn't place that sound, and I was like, where is that coming from? And I went all through the house. Couldn't figure out where that sound was coming from. And then I heard it again, went all through the house, couldn't figure out where it was coming from. Until one day I was in that kitchen up there, and I heard it again, and it was really close. So I just kind of stepped out of the kitchen, and it was coming straight from that freezer. Almost like someone was inside or someone was trying to open it. Something was going on, but you could hear it rattling. And I was just like, okay, you guys stop.
Well, you know what the story is for that, don't you?
No, I don't know anything about it. Other than it being the meat locker. I don't know what else.
A servant killed herself inside there, slit her wrists.
Inside
that, so her friends wouldn't have to clean up after her. So the drain was there, so all the blood would go down the drain, so her friends didn't have to clean up after her. But for you to say that you said it almost sounds like there was someone inside there.
Yeah.
Man.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't know that story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a true story.
Chills.
Mm-hmm.
That would explain why there's so much up there.
Yes.
Like, I couldn't hold it in. It was like, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, emotional. Yeah.
Wow.
Is that crazy, man?
She called it a freezer, but it was really a meat locker, very low temperatures to hang meat. It wasn't a freezer.
Yeah, so that locker is on the south side of that locker. There's a hallway, lockers in the hallway. You step out into the second floor landing, but right to the left is a small little kitchen. And that was the kitchen where the brazen men of the house would stand out in the balcony,
right?
And the butlers and the keepers, the I guess animal keepers would let the help would let the animals go out of a gate or whatever and run, and the guys would shoot them. This is back in the day, and so they would kill the deer, what have you. They would grab the deer, bring it underneath, send it up the boy, what is it? The dumbwaiter, up to the kitchen, which is right there. And in that kitchen has all these grooves that go into the sink.
In the wood counters of the blood.
Yeah. So the blood would go into the sink, and they would dress the deer right there, and then put it in the meat locker right outside, hang it in the meat locker right there. So I don't think I tell this to her.
Well, we continue on with her interview.
Okay, let's do that. But I got to remember about this woman that talked to Steve about all this. It's really important. So let's listen to the rest of it.
Okay.
So you had the woman who hung herself in our break room,
and then the woman
up there, yeah.
And
the reason they say that happened was because who was the financial advisor who married Mrs. Doheny out of convenience after Ned died, was having a relationship with these girls, and they got pregnant, and it was a Catholic house in the 30s.
Right.
And they were so ashamed and guilty and everything that they killed themselves.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. That's the real deal. Yeah.
Just got touched.
Really?
I just felt it.
Well, I've done this before. We've had people get touched here.
Yeah.
And I know there's
But it's like that's what I was trying to tell you. Because I would always hear, you know, and it's like a rush. It's like a rush, like they're like, let me tell you my story, and it's all at once, and it just sounds like you're in a room filled with people, and there's conversations going, but you can't make out what anybody's saying. Mm-hmm. That's what it sounds like.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it all makes sense.
Right. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
So now I understand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because it always sounded like someone was in there trying to get out.
Ugh, so crazy.
Yeah.
So I'll let you. She's talking about what she hears all the time.
Yes.
Is hearing these conversations.
Yeah.
All the time.
Right. Yeah. When she's in that realm, like she's in an area in which there are ghosts, that's what she'll hear. But what she was saying was, on this interview with her, and we went up to the kitchen, and she was talking about, I was hearing the sound and this and that, you know, the rattling and all that stuff. And as we're talking, she got touched. That's what she was just saying.
Right.
She got touched, and she goes, I just got touched. I said, okay. And she says, that was her saying to me, that's what I was trying to tell you all those times. That's what she just said.
With the rattling.
Yeah, so that woman was rattling to say, hey, I died in here, and trying to tell her that, and knowing that she has the gift.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
what Lou's told you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you're.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's to me,
well, it's plausible in that respect.
Yeah.
It's logical, but it's just hard for me to. I mean, that is just incredible to hear that.
And she is super gifted. And,
wow.
and that's why she was touched, and other things happened to her on the tour. But one of the things I wanted to say was, we thought, again, just like the woman ranger who was pushed down the stairs, we thought that was ranger folklore. Right. When we first started, they're going, hey, let me tell you what happened in here, just so you know. And we're going, okay, whatever. We had heard that a servant woman hung herself in which is now the break room. And this other woman slit her wrist in the meat locker. And we're going, okay, that's what we've heard. You either believe it or you don't, and it's hard to say, right? Mm-hmm. Well, one day a woman shows up and sees Steve Clark and says, is there any way I can get inside the house?
This isn't one of ours, is it? One of the ones we're going to do?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I hope not.
I hope not, too.
You're going to tip it again.
No. But no, because Steve, it's either Lou's story or Steve's story. Do we have Lou's again coming up?
No.
Okay. Second floor landing. No.
Okay.
No, they're not going to talk about it.
All right.
So this woman came up to Steve, and she was an older woman, and said, "Can I get in the house? Is there any way I get in the house?" And Steve said, "We don't do tours really, like letting people in the house and events and stuff like that." But no. She goes, "Oh, okay," because I think it was her mother's. She said her mother's friend slit her wrist in the meat locker.
Oh, really?
Yes. And then Steve went, oh my, we thought that was folklore. She, oh, honey, no, it happened.
Whoa.
So then we went, wow. So
that validated it for sure.
Yeah.
And then Luz has this experience.
Yeah.
Poor thing.
Yeah, well, Luz really feels it, and we'll get into that later even more. We'll talk about that again.
Okay.
Wow. Is that?
That's a great story.
And let me tell you something. That door, it's like, the old. Remember, this is 1927. It was when they started building it. 27, 28. Mm-hmm. It's one of those that you crank open like a freezer.
It's like one of those old freezers at where you go into Ralph's or something in the back where they store.
Right.
It's a big handle.
Yeah, big handle. So this one is the same thing. It's not as big as the huge ones, but it's a smaller handle. Mm-hmm. But that's what
opens the same way.
Yeah, that's what was jiggling.
Right.
And inside there's a push thing. Do you remember that?
Yes.
There's a pole with a.
So you can get out. Anybody stuck in there can get out.
You can push that, and that will get the lock to open up, so you can get outside. Right. But she was probably hearing that handle thing in there being pushed.
Well, why didn't the ghost just push it and get out?
Well, I don't know. Huh. Maybe there's not enough energy, smart mouth.
Okay.
Golly, give him a break.
Next one up?
Yeah.
That was a great story.
It was
fantastic.
A great story. Thank you. I agree.
Next one up is Che. Che had his nephew, right? And his nephew's girlfriend. Is that right?
Yeah.
His nephew and his girlfriend was with the nephew.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. What happened with that one?
The nephew's girlfriend.
Yes.
Right. Okay. I'm not going to tell you what happened.
Okay.
But Che's going to tell you what happened.
Oh.
But this reminded me of Steve Clark directly downstairs, by the way, where he was giving that psychic medium a tour. And you remember what happened to her. So let's just let Che...
Is that the hair one and freaking out?
What are you saying it? We'll let Che say it, not Chris. Okay, let's move forward, please.
All right.
Talk about tipping it.
Number 5.
My nephew and his girlfriend, who was visiting me on a Saturday afternoon about 5:30, and we were inside the mansion. We were walking around, and I was pointing out different rooms inside the servants' quarter. And just
is this upstairs or downstairs?
Upstairs. Okay. Upstairs. And then as I was pointing out the rooms to them, each room, who it belonged to, At that point, when I turned my back towards them, I was surprised to see her hair all standing up.
Now, this is when you turn back around.
When I turned back around. And I said, what's wrong with your hair? She's like, what are you talking about? Your hair is all standing up, like static, standing up. And I said to her, my 14 years I've been walking around here, I have never seen any incident or anything like this ever happen to anybody. And this is the first time I ever seen this. And so she got really frightened and scared, and she ran out down the hall.
So she ran out of the building?
Out the service quarter.
Okay. So how far away was the hair from their head?
So all the top hair was standing up like this.
Like straight up?
Straight up.
Did she feel any energy, do you know? Or?
She said she felt something, but she just got really frightened just when she ran out.
So when she got away from the servants'
hair came down.
It came back down?
Yeah. It's just that point, that moment, when we're walking through those servants' quarter, that's what I noticed, her hair was standing. My hair was not standing up. Just her.
And does she have, if she's Asian, she has straight hair.
Straight hair. She had her hair, I think, on a ponytail.
Yeah.
But this section was like, it was loose, and it was just...
Yeah, straight up. That's wild.
I have never seen
And the person with her...
Her boyfriend,
yeah.
Bryan.
Did he feel anything, or he saw it?
He got scared, too. Both of them got scared.
And they both ran out?
Yeah. And I was just surprised what I saw.
Because he's talking about the hair. Is it the hair? She had it in a ponytail, so it's the hair just sits on the sides.
Here, but he said that it was some of the...
Well, it could have been this just going...
yeah,
wow.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have seen that.
Oh, man.
I wish you would have gotten a picture.
Well, you know, what are you going to do?
I know.
Say, hey, I know you're frightened, but hang on a second.
Yeah. While you're running out.
Yeah. And that's above... It's the level above where Steve Clark had that psychic woman who was like going, she's hitting me, she's hitting me, and her hair was out all over the place. So there's something in that area that has a ghost that, and again, this is a woman that it went after a woman with her hair. So I don't know if there's a spirit in there that doesn't like women or something like that. But why did it take these two women to go after them?
That's kind of weird.
It's very weird, man. I thought. And it's so funny it happens to Che, because Che doesn't like being in the house and going through all that stuff. And, you know, he had his, remember he was the one who was down in the basement and he talked to somebody, will you come with me, please? He comes back up and the doors close and he's like freaking out in there.
Right.
So he's had a couple things. There's another one coming up in episode 20, I believe, the last episode. That's off the charts, awesome. That happened to Che. I'm excited.
Don't go there. It's a long ways away. Many weeks away.
Good Lord help us. Literally.
Next story.
Yeah.
This is kind of a twofold story, but we'll talk about Elvis first.
Oh man. Yeah. Okay. This story is horrifying, to be honest. When I heard this. And this was brought to my attention by Andrea and Velma, who were the two women that were helped clean the location, along with a lot of locations in that area, and were just wonderful people. And they knew that I was eventually writing a book, and that I was really interested in the paranormal at that location. So when things would happen, they would contact me. Now, Andrea has the gift; Velma does not. And Velma wants nothing to do. They were such a great pair. She wanted nothing to do with the paranormal, but she had to go in the mansion and clean. Elva, let me set you up with Elva. We may have talked to her about her before, but Elva is one that would pull up to work in the morning, turn her car off in the AFI lot, which is, you know, the AFI lot is right outside the restrooms, the public
They call
restrooms.
that the AFI. We've talked about that, but it's the AFI lot, the American Film Institute. They rented it, the area for their campus.
Yeah, and so that little parking lot was, I think, where they had the main people of AFI would pull in and park. So they used to call it the AFI lot. But so Elva pulled up in the morning, because I'd show up, I'd see her. She'd pull up, she'd turn off her car and just sit there. And I kept going like, why isn't she getting out of the car? And she'd just sit there, and I just get out of I go up to see Dan, whatever, and I look out there, and she's like, she's praying and she's got a rosary. She's doing a whole ball of
Poor
wax there
thing.
before
Jeez.
she had to go into the mansion. Imagine that. She had to do that 5 days a week. She was frightened. She had things which we don't even have. I didn't keep it in there, but smelling smoke, hearing things. And she'd come to me and say, I have to talk to you. I said, okay, what's going on? Are you okay? Well, I'm smelling smoke. You're smelling smoke? Yes. Where are you smelling smoke? Inside the mansion. There's no one to be smoking in there. I said, well, okay, are you sure there's somebody in there smoking? I smell smoke. I said, okay, I'll go in. I'll check it. I went in, checked out. I came and said, honey, I don't smell anything. She goes, okay, I just pray. I just pray. That was her answer to everything. This poor thing. It's like, if she heard stuff, and we'll move on. But the last thing is when I interviewed her for another story, which we didn't do, inside the living room, that's where a voice came in as I was speaking. And you can hear it. You just don't know what it's saying. And I mean, it's a male voice. But I step on it when I'm talking to her, right? I say, so as we're talking. But she would hear this stuff and hear doors close and all this stuff. She goes, I just pray. I just pray. I said, okay.
All right.
Let's hear.
Let's listen to
Elva. Her own words, Elva.
Yes.
So this is what happened. We went to this, we cleaned up the first floor, and then we went to the second floor. You know what the servants' rooms is? Where the ugly picture is? And
what is it?
It's an ugly picture in there.
Inside the servants?
Inside the room. You know the room I'm talking about with the bed?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just cleaning, and I start feeling really sad out of nowhere. I mean...
I got you. No way. Out of nowhere.
Nowhere. And I go like, I told Andrea, what happened? I start feeling sad, and she goes, and she starts singing like gospel music because she felt that was some kind of energy in the room. I don't know. And I start praying, and I start praying and praying until I leave the room.
So that's in the servants' wing, that one room that has the bed inside.
The bed inside with that picture frame that is in there. Yeah.
And you just started feeling...
really sad. Very sad, like, I don't know. And then when we don't even have eye contact. We don't even talk each other. I just, when I expressed, she started singing, and she said, I felt the same thing you did. She didn't say anything to me because she know how I am. So that's how everything happened.
Wow.
And you can ask Andrea if you want.
I will.
Ask her.
That's awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
She will explain better than I do.
Now, we're going to hear Andrea and Velma, but I think I'm correct in this. I believe I already knew Elva's story. And because Velma and Andrea came to me and said, we have to tell you what happened. So they told me the story. Then I went to Elva acting like I didn't know anything about it. So something happened to you? To let me hear.
See, a liar. This is what I'm talking about.
This is for you. This is not for me. This is for the audience.
You're so believable. That's what's frightening.
Oh, wow. Well, listen.
Truthful, but frightening.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'll take that as a compliment. But in talking to Elva, she came up with what you heard. And then I'd already talked to Andrea and Velma, which you'll hear now. Let's hear what they say about this story, and then we'll elaborate when we're done, because I've got to tell you, this is chilling.
Okay.
Go right ahead.
Here we go. Number 7.
So about 3 weeks ago, she had to go clean the second level of the mansion, and she does not like going alone, so we both went with her. We were helping her, dust, get rid of cobwebs, etc. And we were already in the area where maybe the servants used to stay at. And I was in one room dusting, cleaning, and she went with Elva to the second room. So I was by myself and they were together.
I was vacuuming.
And she was with the vacuum and Elva was doing whatever. And I hear Elva tell her, please don't leave me, in Spanish. Please don't leave me alone. Please don't leave me alone. So I just minded my business, and I'm, trying to finish up the room. And then later on, I go to where they were, which was the next room over. And they were both singing like a
religious song.
Like a harmony religious song. They were both singing it. And then Elva leaves to another area. And then, so, you know, we're done with the room. So later on, after we're done, I set her aside and I said, hey, what happened in there? And she already knew why I said it, because I heard her yell, please don't leave me alone, please don't leave me alone. And she responded, no, I'm not going to leave you alone. So then I said, what happened? She said, Vilma, when both of us walked in the room, to my left, I saw a black shadow
looking straight at
Elva. And Elva didn't have no idea. Elva just yelled, please don't leave me alone, please don't leave me alone. She yelled it 3 times.
Now, did you see this?
I saw the shadow.
You saw it as well.
She saw the shadow.
I was the one who
She's
saw
the
the
only
shadow.
one who saw the shadow.
Because she was in, I was coming into the door, and behind the door there was in the corner this shadow, and the shadow was the attention straight on Elva. That's when Elva told me.
So in her saying, please don't leave me alone, she didn't see the shadow?
No.
So she just felt something?
She felt something.
But I saw it.
So
I'm not going to tell her that you saw it.
No, she has no idea, because later on I asked her, I'm like, hey, what was that all about? And she said, Vilma, when I walked in, there was a black shadow to my left. I saw it, and it was just directly to Elva. So Elva must have felt something in order for her to say that, because the vacuum is on, and, you know, we're right there cleaning, and then I heard her. And that's when I asked her, and she said she has no idea. We're not going to tell her, but there was a black shadow, and it was focusing on her.
And what time is this? In the day or night?
This was around, I want to say, maybe 11 in the morning.
In the morning?
Yeah.
And so even though it's light in there, you could distinguish behind the door, whatever the darkness of the shadow.
Really dark shadow.
Wow. And what happened after you saw it? What did it do?
It was there. It was there, and I started vacuuming. What can I do? Should I tell Elva, get out of here?
But I mean, so you know that it's there.
I knew that it was there.
And you continued working.
Yes, because I didn't want to get Elva.
I totally understand.
Upset. I didn't feel fear at that time. I didn't like it, but I didn't feel that much fear. When I started singing, I didn't know what to do, and I don't know why I started singing this religious song. I learned it a long time ago, and I said, I know that Elva must know this song. Yes, as soon as I start singing, she starts singing with me.
She was following along because I could hear them next door. I was still cleaning the...
But I don't know if you could hear that my voice was kind of shaking. No. I was kind of shaking, and it was hard for me to remember the words. And I was like, please, 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 I need to remember the words.
So you complete your cleaning in there. Was it still there when you left?
I didn't want to see it. I could feel it. I didn't want to see. I just made sure she went out, and I didn't even finish vacuuming. I just got out.
And which room in the servants' wing is it? Do you know? What's inside that room?
The one that has the bed.
The bed?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I was in the one that has all the shelves, and so I was in there cleaning, and then they were both right next door to my left in the next room.
Correct, yeah. Did you feel anything?
No, I don't feel, I don't see, and I don't want to.
Wow.
No. But I heard her say in Spanish, please no me dejes sola, no me dejes sola, no me dejes sola. Don't leave me alone.
Wow.
Yeah, and as soon as I got in, I saw
And then I'm like, what's going on, in my mind.
Yeah. Good for you for not panicking and telling Elva, because she would never come back. She'd be out of the country.
Yeah, that's why I did it. That's why I did it, and that's why we didn't tell her anything about
No,
this.
we're not going to tell her anything.
No, I won't say anything either, because I don't want to. Last thing I want to do is hurt her or scare her.
Wow. So she has no idea and still doesn't.
No, she doesn't.
She does now if she's listening to this.
I think she does work there still.
Oh.
I think she does.
Oh.
Maybe not. There's another gal, Hilda. I don't know if Elva's still there. I don't know. I'm not around there, so I don't know. But, it was... they didn't want to let her know because they're, she's such a sweet. They're all, as you can tell, they're all really cool people, and Andrea and Vilma are just wonderful, wonderful people. I remember talking to Andrea and asking her. She didn't say it here, but I asked her, when you left, did you have the nerve to look behind that door? And she told me, and I didn't hear it here, but she told me yes. And I said, was it there when you left? And she said, yes.
Oh, my gosh.
It was still there. So she just walked out, got Elva out first, then got out second, and then they got out of the building.
Wow.
But that area, and I don't think we have anything else. No, we don't. So I can say this. I don't want to tip something else, but Ranger Ivan, when he first started working there, they brought him through, and he has the gift. When he first started working, he has the gift.
It's a prerequisite for all ranger
If you
hiring.
don't have it, you don't get hired.
Yeah, right.
He had the gift, and he saw black shadows in that, coming in and out of that room, by the way.
Oh.
That room. So.
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
so
there you go.
maybe they use that bed. They sleep in the bed and, they get up and walk out in the hallway or something.
That's coming from you, again.
I don't know.
They don't sleep in
I'm not
beds.
there. Well, how do you know that?
If they're there, they ain't sleeping in beds.
All right. Someone who really knows the paranormal. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right.
That was wild.
Is that crazy?
Yeah. Where are we now?
We're wrapping up.
This is it?
This is it. We've got sounds, but we've got a fascinating sound.
Oh, okay.
The sound of the week.
Oh.
As we do every week, we play a recording that Clete has done. He's left his recorder in there hundreds of times in the mansion, and we chose 20 of the top ones for our 20-part series. So this is
give me a hint on this one so I know.
This is Lou's.
Oh, so this is I didn't leave the recorder in the mansion on this one. She's with me.
That's right. You're actually talking with her.
This is okay. So now I know where we're at.
Yep.
This is part of my conversation with Luz. I'm not going to tell you what happens. This is part of my conversation. We're walking through the servants' hallway, and we're headed toward the break room. And Luz, who has a major gift,
you've described that.
What was that?
It's just
I don't need smart mouth tonight.
Let's keep
You've
rolling.
been a smart mouth.
Let's
quite
keep
a bit
rolling.
Tonight. Luz starts to feel something, and then something happens.
Okay, we're going to play it in a second. What was that? Were you interviewing her for these stories? Or?
Yeah, it's part.
Okay.
We just left the meat locker.
Oh.
And we're walking now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we just left the meat locker. And so she said, I could feel it. She kind of, it made her emotional. We walked past the meat locker down the hallway toward the break room, and she starts to get emotional. And I think she says it here. Let's see what she says.
Okay.
Yeah.
Number 8.
Yep.
If I get teary-eyed, it's just the energy. So I start having trouble breathing, but it's just the energy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I have that broken down.
Thank you. Don't break it yet.
I'm not, and I have both.
Okay, perfect. Let's unpack what we just heard because we're gonna play that same thing again.
Okay.
So this is her saying, "I get teary-eyed," because she's starting to get teary-eyed as we're just leaving the meat locker and we're going in.
Now that explains
Makes sense
it to me. Yeah.
And we're going into the break room where a woman.
Have some water.
Am I clicking?
Yeah.
My mouth, it's dry. And
Because
I sound like I have fake teeth or something.
It's good. It's good.
So we leave the meat locker. We're going into the break room where a woman hung herself, and she's starting to feel that. That's why she says, "Sorry if I get teary-eyed." Let's listen to it again, and then we're going to do a breakdown of what we're listening.
This is fascinating.
If I get teary-eyed, it's just the energy. So I start having trouble breathing, but it's just the energy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, for those of you listening, I'm sure a lot of you caught it, but there are 2 things that come through in my conversation with her. Now, I'm not saying anything. It's Luz doing all the talking.
It's just you and Luz, and it's a digital recorder. It's not an analog.
Right. So we're walking up these steps, going into the break room, and I might as well just say it, then they can listen to it again,
Yeah.
right? So she says, pardon me if I get teary-eyed, don't. That don't is not me. It's a woman's voice, and it's not Lou's. She just said, pardon me, I get teary-eyed. And then she goes in and continues the conversation. It's just that a woman's voice comes in. By the way, for those of you out here listening to this, out there listening to this, if you understand what this woman is saying, I think it's another language. Let us know. I'd love to know. But you're going to hear at the end again, it sounds like Ennis Hausbrick. I don't know what that is. Play it one more time, the full thing, okay?
Yeah.
If I get teary-eyed, it's just the energy. So I start having trouble breathing, but it's just the energy.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is insane.
Is that awesome?
Now that I'm listening to, that's real.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't, what are you going to say?
You cannot go against, that's a fact.
That is a
listening to don't, especially, you can't add that to
Right.
tape,
No,
to a digital recorder.
it's real. It was real. All this is real, but I know sometimes it's hard to believe. But so I played that back for Luz, and she goes, "No, I don't know what that is."
She didn't do it.
She didn't do it, and it was just myself and her daughter, who was like 12 or something.
Wow.
So there's a woman saying, "I get teary-eyed. Don't get teary-eyed." It's just that when it's in his house, and then she says something in another language to talk to her. Now,
if it's another language, we don't know what that is, right? I mean,
yeah, Mr. Negative. But let me tell you something. The people who worked in that home were mostly from Europe, Norwegian, Sweden, Irish, English.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
Yeah.
A Catholic household, basically.
That would be really weird if somebody went, "I know what they're saying."
Well,
I would love to hear that.
And share this if you would to anybody you might know. Hey, this might somebody from Krisa, help me from Norway. Come on now. Okay, let's break it down. Okay, we're gonna break it down.
We'll hear the first one. We'll hear "don't" first.
Okay, simple. Don't. Oh. Don't. Okay,
it's the best.
Don't. Okay, we got it. Give me the next one.
That one is.
Is
that wild? That's not.
Where's that coming from?
The ethers.
Oh.
The spirit ethers.
Oh.
That's not English, obviously. It's not. I don't think it's like it's because it's from another realm or behind the veil that it sounds different. That's a different language. That sounds like a different language to me. I think it sounds European, to be honest.
It could be the spirit language. Let me hear it one more time. You never know.
For years I've tried to.
I know.
Come on,
and
man.
we've
What
asked
is that?
everybody we know and played it for everybody, and nobody.
Remember, we're at the OC Paracon, and that one gal who was a linguist said, "Oh, that sounds like," and she said like Northern Europe, European, Swedish, Norway. Wow. Yeah, Norwegian.
It's nuts.
Is that wild? That's so.
That was
awesome,
a good one,
man. Yeah, wasn't it good?
It was one of the better ones we've had.
Thank you.
Well, you didn't do it.
Oh,
you just recorded it.
Okay.
It was really, really good.
Yeah, man. I love that.
Again, thank you everybody for watching. We really do appreciate it. If you're so inclined on YouTube, like, subscribe, ring the bell. Anything helps us. Leave comments, leave a review, whatever you want on YouTube. And if you want to leave a comment that's personal and you don't want to leave it, on YouTube, just go ahead and go to our website, ghostsofgreystone.com, and you can leave one there.
Yeah.
And if you've had an experience at Greystone, he would love to hear about it.
Yes, I would. I really would.
For real.
Yeah.
Just go through our website, ghostsofgreystone.com, and fire off a message to us. We'll get back to you right away. We respond to everybody that's on there. And the book.
Yeah, do we write a book?
We wrote a book. We never promote it, but we're trying to. But the book is really, I think it's outstanding. It's got 237 stories from 86 different
How many
people.
pages is this book?
520 pages.
Wow.
But it really is something.
Yeah, it really is great. Yeah. And by the way, the next show, shadows, apparitions, voices, direct communication. We're going into the second floor landing, man.
And hallway.
And that's...
It's a little bit crazy.
Yeah, and that's... and in fact, there's so much that happened up there. We have it in 2 parts, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I haven't built it yet.
Okay, yeah. So it's going to be fun. And boy, some bizarre, cool apparitions.
Don't give it away.
Oh, let me tell you everything about it. No, it's really awesome. But listen, just because you can't see it doesn't mean it isn't there. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate you being here.
100 horses in 5 freight trains couldn't drag me into that early grave. I've cashed in the mistakes I've made while God rode shotgun from 1,000,000 miles away. I don't wake in sorrow, I don't walk in shame, I don't deal in hearsay, I don't dwell in blame. Sometimes it's best to forget what I know and what they say, but this ain't that time, and this ain't that day. With the heart of a gypsy and the eyes of a child, I walk these fields and let my love grow wild. Filled with fever, I dare my desire. Don't fear the flame, I walk through the fire. I don't wake in sorrow, I don't walk in shame, I don't deal in hearsay, I don't dwell in blame. Sometimes it's best to forget what I know and what they say, but this ain't that time, and this ain't that day. I'll keep riding till the trail grows cold, where the hillsides burn, amber and smoke. The sheep and the shepherd are lost on different roads, blinded by hate, blinded by hope. I don't wake in sorrow, I don't walk in shame, I don't deal